Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of MissFlips. Happy Earth Day. It is Earth Day. Today, we are celebrating the Earth by taking care of her. I've been wanting to do this for a while now, but honestly, in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. So I wanted to create this video when I personally was doing all the things that I'm mentioning in this video myself. I am going to be showing you guys how to reduce waste not only in your workspace, but also in your creative process, and use the most eco-friendly products that you possibly can.
It's Earth Day, baby. Let's get flippin'.
Alright guys, so first of all, I'm going to start off with some tips on how to be eco-friendly in your workshop. As you can see, I'm cutting up old board and I am then going to put it under my items that are on this graded shelf here. This is a great way to reuse packaging or old boxes that you have lying around in storage or whatever the case may be, instead of buying new plastic and contributing to waste. Another great way to reduce waste from packaging is to keep the bubble wrap that comes in your packages and use them when you ship furniture. I just shipped off this piece right here and it has a glass shelf in it, so I figured that the best way to ship it was to wrap it in bubble wrap. So I took some bubble wrap that I got from a melange paint order that I did, and it worked really well. I would prefer if melange didn't use bubble wrap at all, but you know, you make do with what you got. Speaking of melange, I also reuse the glass jars that they send their paint in. I clean them out and then I end up using them to hold things like screws, nails, anything that is small enough to fit in there. I also tend to reuse to-go containers, so when you get things like soup or ramen or something like that, those containers work great, as well as sourcing my storage containers from Goodwill. They have so many great options there to put things in. Not to mention, they are extremely affordable and you can pretty much, just get whatever you need specifically. You can also bring your tools or whatever you're looking to store into Goodwill to make sure that they fit inside the container before you buy. For larger storage, before you go and, build your own thing, I would highly recommend looking on Facebook Marketplace to see if they have an item that works best for you or can work in your space for what you have. I got this piece off of Facebook Marketplace and not only was it just super cool, but it also was extremely functional and perfect for my space. I ended up storing a bunch of stuff like tools and my fabric and all that sort of stuff. But if you are looking for something a little bit more custom for your space, Facebook Marketplace is oftentimes a great place to buy materials. So before you buy new, look for old construction sites that are selling their old materials. That way you're helping reduce demand for new materials. The workbench that I got is actually from Facebook Marketplace as well, so you can find some really cool stuff on there that is very functional and works really well. And if you're also looking to do a staging wall, I recommend getting some used stuff on Facebook Marketplace. For example, this slat wall. It's a little bit more expensive, but it actually serves multiple functions in the sense that I can hang things wherever I want them to be hung for my staging without actually having to nail into the wall, which is really, really cool. So moving on to the creative process itself and how to be eco-friendly in that, the first thing I want to talk about is paint. We have a few options here. I personally like doing all-in-one paints, specifically because it limits the amount of containers that you're actually ordering or buying, and of course less containers means less waste, so all-in-one is the best option for that. But chalk paint is a great option as well. I actually prefer chalk paints, and chalk paints oftentimes you don't need a primer for, and they're also one of the most, if not the most, natural paint you can possibly use. But if neither of these work for you, a low VOC paint is always the better option in comparison to not low VOC. If you do have to use a primer, I would definitely suggest using a no sand primer. This right here is a great brand for that. I use it all the time whenever I have to prime something. It's not only less work for you, but it also creates less waste in the sense that you don't have to buy sandpaper and waste the plastic packaging that it comes in. However, I know that we cannot always avoid sanding, so if you do find yourself in need of it, I highly recommend using the reusable sand sandpaper, and I haven't honestly ever reused a pad, but I have used it for an extensive amount of time without it, leaving too many marks or getting dull. So it does last a heck of a lot longer than regular sandpaper, although it is a little bit more expensive, but I feel like it evens out considering that it lasts longer. And yeah, less plastic and less waste. Removing paint is often where people tend to get the most not eco-friendly. They use things like chemical strippers and oven cleaner. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe people use that. I used it once just to try it out, and not only did it not work, but I just couldn't stand the thought of not only breathing that stuff, but also just using it. Anyways, a great thing to do is to carbide scrape. It does take a little bit more time, but at the end of the day, it is much more safe for not only you, but also for the environment. Or you can use alternative strippers like Citrus Strip instead of that like really harsh chemical stripper that people use. I don't even know any brands, but Citrus Strip is a really, really great solution. Or you can just get in there and do the nitty-gritty work of sanding. I oftentimes choose to carbide scrape instead of sanding though, just because I find it to be a lot safer when it comes to dealing with things like really thin veneer. And also it's just, less waste. Now, where top coats are concerned, I prefer to use wax whenever I possibly can, simply because of the fact that it is so eco-friendly in comparison to its other harsher chemically based top coats such as polyurethane. You can also make your own, which is really cool. I'll make sure to include a link to the tutorial in the description below. But yeah, it's one of the few times where you can actually make your own product, which is basically just the, epitome of eco-friendly furniture flipping. Speaking of wax, I like to go to thrift stores and buy used candles and rub those on my drawer slides instead of using the expensive products like this wax that I'm rubbing on the top here. One, you save a lot of money because you're not using your product on things like drawer slides. And two, you're saving candles from the thrift store. For the cleaning process, there are 3 things that I would recommend. 1, reusable gloves, 2, a reusable bottle, and 3, a cleaning solution that is also eco-friendly. I have always used a combo of vinegar and water, just regular household white vinegar and then water, half and half or a little bit more vinegar than water. Either one works great for getting that dirt off. Another way to cut back on waste is to not use transfers. Transfers create so much waste and plastic, and my friend Sab over at Sab's Rehabs has a great video where she shows you how to use napkins for like decoupage and stuff on the sides of drawers instead of using something like a transfer where, plastic packaging and the plastic that it comes on is a huge thing. But yeah, shout out to her. She's awesome. Make sure to check her out. Super talented furniture flipper. But yeah, also very eco-friendly of her. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that by being eco-friendly, not only do you save the planet, but you also save time and money. And therefore, by saving time and money, you make more money. So I guess what I'm trying to say is being eco-friendly is pretty cool. Rarely do I like to suggest sharing the videos or whatever. I don't really like self-promotion, but I do it because in this biz you kind of have to. If I'm gonna promote a video, this one is going to be it. If you found this video useful, please make sure to like and subscribe and share. Most importantly, share with your friends, share with your family, but most of all, try to implement as many of these things as you possibly can into your own process. If you guys have any other ways to reduce waste or any other ways to be eco-friendly, please leave them down in the comments. I would love to hear about them and implement as many of them as I possibly can into my own process. And yeah, happy Earth Day, guys. Stay flippin'.